Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Mm. All right. Back to work. Back to working on grinding. Well. So. Anyway. I don't know. A lot of you wouldn't know about Daffy Duck and I guess his name is Mel Blanc or whatever. He was the original voice actor for them for all the cartoons. I didn't know that. For the thing, I don't know about for the Tiny Toons, but I do know he did that, and you know, he passed away, which is not good, but what can you do? So without him, Daffy Duck hasn't been seen. And yeah, they brought back Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny, but I guess it was kind of hard to do all that without Yosemite Sam. I didn't even know he did Loghorn or Leghorn Pronghorn over him. Yeah, I had no idea. But yeah. I don't think he did, what's her name? Lola Bunny, I think that's her name. Anyway. I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. I know some people are talented enough that they can actually pull off some good voice actors acting for even female roles. It's like females can do the same thing for, you know, male roles, but I don't know. I just don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if I should say any more without it being like, oh, I'm making a judgment call, which I'm not. But you know, that's how it could be taken anyway. There's a rock. Get offended over that. What's that? You can't see the rock. Okay. Figuratively speaking, get offended by a figuratively speaking rock. Or, fact that I'm eating ice cream. Ooh, does that offend you? Good. Ice cream. All that dairy product. So why it's not healthy for me? I don't care. And you got better things to discuss besides what's healthy for me and what's healthy, what not. Okay, I need to stop eating because I'm getting a headache from that. And it's called an ice cream headache. But anyway. Oh my God, not that again. The wonderful world of items I don't ever really need. I can't say that about 2 or anything like that, but this game, Hardly ever do you need, antitoxins for crying out loud. I mean that literally speaking, of course. Hardly ever. I speak from person. It might be a spoiler, but it's one that's shouldn't ruin the game for you. If it does, then man, God, why'd you even bother trying to get to know about this game? What little minor detail really spoils it for you? Gee, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't have even bothered with even bothering to learn it at all. Like, what's the ins and outs about a game that, maybe you should or shouldn't know, but oh, okay. So, anyway. Yeah. Basically, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, how do you not spoil a game? If it just spoils it immediately the moment you say one little minor detail that you wouldn't even know about till like, oh, I don't know, throughout the whole game you wouldn't need it hardly ever. Oh yeah, that really, oh, okay. You know what else will probably spoil it for you then? Level grinding. Oh no! That one secret to the game you actually have to do, like you have a choice in the matter. Whatever. But also would spoil it for you. Oh my goodness, there's bosses in the game. Uh-oh. Did I just spoil that for you? Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh, there's characters in the game as well. Does that spoil it for you? Should I go on? Alright, then, definitely. You get to have a party. And I don't mean to like the literal sense, but you get to celebrate. I mean, you get to do the whole idea of having 4 or 5 members, maybe 6 members max. Gee, I don't know, maybe. Of course, that actually would be a sort of a spoiler in itself, but it's not a big of a deal. It's kind of an obvious thing, but it's also not obvious at the same time. Give it up already. Anyway. Okay. So I'm just gonna finish it up with this. There's monsters in the game. Ooh, does that spoil it for you? Yeah. Oh. I mean, it's not like I told you what their names are or anything. No. But I said there was monsters in the game that we had to fight. Oh my! Not the one of the things that's part of the game. Oh no. Oh boy. Whatever you do, freak out about it, because I wouldn't want you to not freak out about it, because it's just one little detail. Actually, there's so many details that really shouldn't really spoil the game that much. Like, oh, well, it's not even enjoyable now, because now I know that there's monsters in it, characters, oh my goodness, all this other stuff. I mean, especially leveling up your weapons. I mean, that's kind of a thing that should be kind of learned as you go along, kind of thing. But like something that you wouldn't give up right away. I mean, like characters are kind of a, things you'll already learn about at the beginning of the game mostly. But like whatever. But like so many of them, like specifically, like I don't know, you have like I don't know. So many people that are like, oh, well, this is, I don't know, I don't know why I keep saying I don't know. Anyway, let's go saying that. Anyway. I'm gonna shut up now. Be very quiet. Shh, I'm being quiet. Are you being quiet now? Or are you talking? Okay, maybe it's best that you do all the talking and I be quiet and I'll let you talk. What's that? I can't hear you. Oh, no, duh. Like I'm live or, where you're on the mic and I'm talking to you through some kind of weird kind of Skype thing, like that stupid Discord. Oh, yes, I call that Discord. That stupid Discord. I don't really care. Discord is so old and outdated. Yeah. No one does Discord. I mean, nobody. I mean, what people really do is they play video games. You know, and they talk to each other through some kind of phone device. Actually, that is true. People do that, but that's not the only thing they do. But anyway. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We are not getting there yet, but we're getting there. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? Yes. Hey, don't lie to me. What do you mean don't lie to you? You're lying to yourself. Oh, that's true, I guess, because I'm the only one in the room. I mean, the big thing. Wow, isn't it amazing you can lie to yourself? People say you can't lie to yourself. Puh! I lie to myself all the time. Except not really. I could, because, you know, I could make a very interesting conversation with myself and an interesting, story. You're like, did you ever tell you something about something self? And you're like, what? Well, that time that I talked to you about you and to you and all that. Oh, really? Interesting. Do tell more, you know? That kind of thing. I mean, I could do that all day long, but yeah, who wants to do all that kind of junk? It's like sitting here and playing the game, and even if I don't talk. Son of a biscuit! I didn't mean to buy that. Oh well. Good because I get to give up some money. I mean, at this point, I don't need it, but I will be needing all that once I get to the point where we start doing some more stuff that we're going to need, but, you know. Yeah, it takes all kinds of stuff to do things with. I mean, it takes gold to do all kinds of stuff that we need to do. But you won't find in a chest. You know, one thing I have to say about Suikoden 3 is the money thing. And that's about it. Because it's a matter of luck. And if you don't get the right amount right away, you have to keep on voting for it. I think it is, or whatever, I can't remember. Yeah. I'll never understand why they went away from cheat codes, because I think cheat codes is one of the things that made these games interesting and stuff. Even though that maybe not all games were secluded to the idea of cheats, but the fact that they were even existed at all. And I'm not saying it's the only thing that made it interesting, no, but at the same time, it was one of the things. Yeah. So, I'm not afraid to cheat like you are. You're afraid to cheat. That's the problem with you. Anybody who says, well, it's just wrong to use cheat codes in a game, you definitely always play it normally and no cheat codes, ever. That's because you're afraid to do it, even after the fact that you've already beaten the game without the cheat codes. But yeah, that's right. You're just afraid. You're afraid to try it out. Your excuse is that, yeah, it'll definitely beat the game. And you don't want that because you use cheat codes. I can tell you that, there it is, but it doesn't let you beat the game. Not necessarily. Makes you get all the way to the, basically what you're saying is you're telling me, make you go all the way down to the last level, to the final boss. That doesn't happen unless you can skip levels. Unless you can actually glitch the game. Which when I've been in the beta version of this, or in the game, Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the original one where it says alpha, which meant it was fully done. I hate that they changed it around to beta being the full one. Even though the also beta didn't necessarily also refer to that, but it was also something about, you know. Yeah, he's gonna be at level 40 before we are, but he doesn't really count. No, not really. You know, at this point, we don't really need to be at 40. For most things, but some things you're gonna need to be. Because then you have to get more levels because of other enemies that are coming up. It's the most craziest thing ever. Because if you go up there too low, yeah, you're gonna wish you hadn't. And like I got plenty of other opportunities to absolutely train up all my characters, whether I had them recruited or not. It doesn't really matter. One thing I have to say about the entire series was the tragedies that happen in the game. Whether it was enemy or, you know, friends alike or whatever, you know. I'm not saying who and what dies or whatever, but like that was kind of a thing about Suikoden, is you had something like that going on. Or you're like, whatever happened. I mean, like, the tragedies that made these games what they are, friend and enemy alike, and I'm just gonna say it without spoiling anything. Like when it comes to sacrificing soldiers, yeah, it might be a spoiler, but it's nothing to worry about. I'm just talking about them. Like those were the enemy, our allies, and the enemy soldiers. I'm, you know, maybe you don't feel any sympathy for them, but I do, because they're, you know, they're soldiers just trying to do their job, you know. After all, we have to have somebody. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I thought that one was kind of come in or something. And the crazy thing is, they're driving real slow. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want them to drive too fast, but geez. Like, gee, I wonder what's going on in there. See if I can't hear anything. Even though the windows are up on the car, but come on, really? I gotta say, I love ice cream. I mean, I know, tell you what, it was like a snack and a treat, you know, that you get. Best thing about ice cream was, one of the things was, you know, having it for your birthday. Not everybody, but some people would. Me, I had Neapolitan, actual ice cream, and sometimes sandwiches, but not always. Then the other thing, didn't matter was before, during, or afterwards, where they had the ice cream truck. They had this, this is before zero sugar was introduced, for the record. They had a can of soda with Mountain Dew that was cold, and they had chips in there. I didn't always get chips, you know, but then you just bought an ice cream sandwich from them. And the thing I would get is the Neapolitan sandwiches, because I like those, you know. I don't think they actually had Neapolitan sandwiches at the time. You could buy them at the store. Not that I can remember, anyway. Anyway. You know. That's what I've been like. Even though the gas prices weren't as cheap as they were, but they were still just fairly decent enough to be cheap. You know. You kind of get back and forth. Now, at the same time, though, the same token, same thing. Prices were not cheap enough where you can go and travel back and forth to states and stuff. No, not unless you got a lot of money. Well, this would have also been a time before electric cars were even invented or even thought of. Believe it or not. Because, I think they were talking about, like, electric cars, though, supposedly in Japan. But that was like didn't last very long. So, and, this is like before Elon Musk and all that. So, that would have been like, I forget when it happened, but, you know, not during the time that I know of, anyway. You know what's crazy about the whole thing as well is they had hybrid cars. Eventually. And then that didn't last for very long because you don't hear about them anymore. Hybrid was mostly gas and electric from what I remember. But what makes it crazy as well, just beyond all that, is number one, the idea that, you know, people can't go anywhere to charge up their car. Seriously, where I'm at, you couldn't find it unless it's probably at some kind of dealership that's probably going to find it. Because anywhere, they're supposed to be at gas stations. Well, the gas stations I know of around here and stuff, they don't have it. Believe it or not. And, you know, so good luck on that, because we still have to rely on gas for whatever bloody reason. And I'll tell you what else makes it crazier is that they're trying to ban electric cars or something. I don't know. Or gas-powered cars in some states. Why? Makes no sense to me. Don't get upset, but because electric is better and is more friendly for the environment. Screw the environment! If this was a thing about the environment, you know, it wouldn't be, oh, well, you know, how important an electric car is, so you jack up the price. Thinking it's just cheap. You know, they make it sound like it's all good until they get right down to the nitty-gritty about it. The price. Yeah. Gas-powered vehicles are generally cheaper. But they're also just as expensive. So, that's if you want something brand new. If you want something used, well, you know. I guarantee you this, you won't find an electric car that's used unless it's very old made. And those are very hard to find. Like, very few of there in between, if you can even find one. Otherwise, the typical ones that are going to be no doubt buying is brand new, and those are just ain't cheap. I think things ought to be cheap, but not too cheap. I can understand that not. Like, okay, if a car costs you $5, it better be worth it. But it ain't gonna, chances are, bad problem is that even if it's $5 or whatever, there's gonna be something wrong with it you had to fix yourself. I mean, I can understand that with a used car anyway, but the typical thing is it shouldn't be so daggum bloody bad. That's what it usually is when it's cheap like that. You know. But, for example, if I had to put out $200 for a car, a one-time payment, yeah, that'll never happen, I know, right? But that's not the point. The point is, there wouldn't be nothing wrong with it. Because I mean, otherwise, other than maybe one small thing I might have to get fixed, but otherwise, you know, I don't have to worry about it. Too much. I got the door shut. Anyway. You know. Yeah, I'm just saying. Typically speaking, when you talk about what it means to have a car, I go, way it goes. You know. Maybe I'm not one to talk to you about having a car because I'll probably never own one. Because the thing is, in order to have it, I have to drive it myself, and I don't want to. I'm not saying I would want to drive it because I don't trust myself behind the wheel. I would have to hire somebody if I was going to do that. So, yeah, it'd have to be somebody I could trust. You know, they're going to demand more money or try and scam me out of my car. And other than I don't trust anybody, but I don't trust anybody. Well, anyway, I don't really truly know that won't screw me over. Let me put it that way. I don't trust anybody like that. Yeah, I give everybody a benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to tell you, when it comes to a car, I'm not going to just say, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take a chance on this person. Yeah. Maybe if I had like a dummy car or something, then I could say, yeah, as long as they pass the test, it's okay. But, you know, I even always say, even if they do, how do you know they won't still take it from you? I don't know, like, you know, just take a chance on it, just like anybody else. What do you expect? I mean, especially when you don't trust yourself behind the wheel. And you don't know how to drive a vehicle. Anybody can know how to drive a vehicle. It's knowing whether or not you feel confident enough to be behind a vehicle, or the wheel behind a vehicle. I'm not afraid that I'd fall asleep. I'm afraid that I would get. Well, I'm not afraid of anything, but anyway, I would be more like, yeah, you know, I get lost, and then there's a whole idea that susceptible to accidents. I've been in one, even though I wasn't the driver. And it wasn't the driver when I was in the car, or when I wasn't. It was the other driver that didn't care. Nope. So that's the thing about that. I shouldn't even say it because it would jinx it, but I'm still going to tell you what it is anyway. Oh, well, I mean, well, I have to repeat myself because I don't want to have to jinx it. Already kind of doing it as it is, but hopefully it won't be too bad. You know. Anyway. Seriously. All my life, people will say, well, why don't you use a map? Or use a GPS? I don't want to. I like to have company. You know, I like to have someone I know I can put my faith in and trust in. Take the wheel of the car. You know, in case I can't stop the car in time, I know that they could do it. You know, that kind of thing. And that's another thing. I never remember as well as being able to stop a vehicle in time. Another thing I don't like about cars, because they can go too dang fast. I know that motorcycles can too, but they're not as bad. I'm not saying they can't get into accidents, but they're not as bad as cars. Let me tell you something about cars, man. Yeah. They're way harder to stop than a motorcycle is. I guarantee it. When it's going 90 bajillion miles an hour. A bike is only hard to stop when you're trying to pull it over, so you know, depending on how tough it is. Otherwise, you know, all it's got to do is fall over. A car can fall over, but it depends. If it decides to get into where it spins out. And that's it. Another thing I don't think about as well is spinning out. I don't like that either. Although I have done that in video games, I thought it was kind of funny most of the time. I still never did like it because of the repercussions, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure I'm actually exactly saying that word, but I'm close. I know it's on that word, but trying to say it as it's supposed to be said, but anyway. You know, just saying. I'm glad that most of the time that, you know, they don't, ooh, 39, huh? Pots don't die. Never really think about it, but yeah, I am, because it saves them from having to hit one of my characters in there and making them, I think, get confused or whatever, because sometimes that can happen, but it's very random, you know, when it does. Jeez, why don't we just attack the wrong character? Doesn't really matter anyway. In a way, I'm glad that Flick is going up to 40. There's something I gotta tell you that I never understood, but I gotta wait till 2 to tell you about it, because yeah. So yeah, with that going on, while I'm recording bonus episodes for this, before, you know, I'll slip it in there and be recording for Suikoden 2. By the time that gets started releasing, that means that this one here is completely done. There's no more to show. You know. That's it. However, there is something between the two, and that will be something I'll have to address later on. Because it's just the way, I'm going to do it the way I played it before, but there will be a huge difference. Okay. And we're almost ready to level up again. I'm glad when my ice cream melts. Because when it's too dang cold, you can't hardly eat it. You know. I wouldn't want ice cream to be too daggum warm either, but enough to where you can actually eat the thing, you know what I mean? Anybody who's an ice cream lover probably would understand that. Probably not, I don't know. Probably some people out there go, I prefer mine so hot it's melting in my mouth. I can barely taste it, or you can only taste it through that way. I don't know. I can't pretend like I understand everybody's taste buds. Like, I really understand what that feels like and tastes like if I can feel it when it's melting at hot boiling temperatures in my mouth. In fact, I know I cannot, because, you know, and I know I'm not going to sit there and pretend like it either, because, you know, no offense, but I don't know you. I just know me. That's it. Plain and simple. Ain't good enough for you? Well, I don't know what the hell to tell you. I mean, I can sit there and tell you, here's a broomstick. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, did you see the broomstick with the rock? I'm not talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson. No. I'm talking about an actual rock. You know, something you find on the ground, pick up, or not pick up, I don't know, depending on what the size is, I guess. Like a solid little thing that could be so heavy. I just say that he wouldn't be heavy, but anyway. Oh, you know, not that you couldn't pick him up, but whatever. We're not here to talk about him either. We're here to talk about whatever. I don't remember. Anyway. Well, I wasn't really necessarily trying to talk about that. Like, that was the most important whatever. Anywho. I should get back to being quiet. I literally have nothing to add. Oh my goodness, now we finally get a ninja suit. Which that actually can happen throughout the game from different monsters. I don't think I ever remember getting it here though, to be honest. But it doesn't surprise me any. Seeing as some items can be found by different enemies. But, you know, I'm amazed that I got one, but either way, it doesn't really matter. It's not like it protects you from being poisoned or whatever. Just increases your speed. There's also other specific armor, but we'll go over that later when the absolute time does come. I think that in the order that it comes in is going to be a deal, and then after you go through another deal, then it goes to something, and so I'm trying to be as vague as possible without spoiling the game. I'm also trying to think about it myself, so without giving any actual clues like the Red Man cometh. Some kind of snow that's not really snow. It's like a thing. You know, a thing and a thing. I don't know what that thing is, but it's a thing and a thing. And I'll tell you something else you don't know. Whoever they are, they don't pay me enough. I've never met them, but whoever they are, but they don't pay me enough to do this. Nah. Not even to be real and be myself. Whoever they are, maybe it's me that does it, you know, myself. Maybe I need to negotiate a better contract with myself. Get myself a better thing. I hear. Have some extra money. Sure. That was 25 cents down. Good enough to me. You know, I mean, it's not like I could pay myself with anything else. Which that would last anyway. I mean, like, it used to be like maybe $1, even $3 don't even do anything these days. I have to have at least, you know, more than that, depending on what you're trying to get anyway. Otherwise, it's just not. Oh well, you know, crazy. That's the way it is, unfortunately. And I'd be like, well, why would it be unfortunate? I think it's a good thing that the prices are so high. I mean, because at least it's better for the business, you know, and it's better for the people because the businesses have so much money in their pocket, you know. They may not be rich, but there's no such thing as being too rich. You know, it's not greed. It's just them doing what they want to do, and it makes absolute, perfectly positive, blah, 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 sense. I may be a loser, and I may suck at life, but I'm not going to actually admit to that because, you know, I just like to point out the crap that people may not want to hear. Like, you know, it's just all for the corporations because that's how we serve the community of people. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have stores, man. Bull. I call utter right bull on that. You know. But it's not a bad thing, is it really, to let the corporations get all of our money so we're so broke and still can't afford to get everything, but we have to get just a little bit just to survive on. Even though that the homeless are still not getting enough food, nobody is. Because they have to make every little tiny little thing stretch for an entire year or a month or whatever you want to call it. You know, but, you know, it can't just last a minute. It has to last a whole year on whatever little tiny damn thing you've got. That's right. Because if you don't, you know, it bleeds the stores dry, you know, and oh my God, they just can't make any money when you don't stretch your food. You have to live on bread and peanut butter. Oh my God, you just can't have all this meats and vegetables and all the healthy stuff either. As good as we make it sound like it's so good to be on that. Even though they only last for so blastedly long. That's why you have to keep constantly coming to the store every time. You know. We wouldn't want to, I mean, we wouldn't really want to tell you to live on bread. Anything else for the rest of your miserable life. Even though that we think it's more happier. Even though we know better. And we don't care. No, we don't care. You know. I guarantee you that's what these people are thinking, the ones that support this bureaucracy crap about how prices are. That's why it keeps continuing to grow today. And the next thing is going to be something else that's not called inflation. It's going to be, well, we have to do something, or back to the old words of, we have to cover our hiney, you know. Yeah. Even though it's still greed, but hey, you know, bleed us dry, so we're all so poor. All we can live on is bread and fruit, water. Okay, no fruit, but water. And, you know, you just have to make do with whatever the hell you got. You know? I mean, if you can sit there and afford, you know, electric, internet, you know, all those utility bills, you can obviously afford all this. And if you can't, well, something's wrong. Especially buying a precious brand new car or an electric car nowadays. How dumb is that crap? I'm just saying. The fact that I'm not really saying that I agree with that, it's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that probably people are actually saying that actually support this, even if it's not really something that's being recorded. But I guarantee you, all except for the parts that they're not going to tell you, I'm a jerk, I suck at life, you know. What are you doing back? I don't know why they went out in the first place. Whatever. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Or we're back. It's a dinosaur story. You know, the first time I actually saw that, I was like, what the hell? Really? We're back, a dinosaur story? Wait, when were you here before? I never saw this thing before. Actually, I don't know if I ever gave it to my saw at the time, but anyway. You know, when I first watched it, or saw at the time, but like, you know, when you think about things like, we're back, what do you mean? I didn't know you were here. And I didn't know you left. So, whatever. There have been lots of cartoons I saw previews for and all that, like on VHS. Oh, yeah. Or on TV and stuff. And the thing is, though, is that, you know, I never got to watch them. Some of them just didn't sound all that interesting to me. And sometimes, you know, I check them out and go, oh, you know. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know what, this is interesting. Huh. Sometimes it's not always based on representation, you know. Sometimes representation can be the most awfulest things about things, and then all of a sudden, you know, they actually, they make it look like it's so disappointing you wouldn't want to watch it, right? But then as soon as you do, oh, well, it's not so as disappointing as the trailer was, which is kind of stupid. And then sometimes, even though it's disappointing it's just as disappointing as the trailer is. But not always all the time, you know. That's just the way it goes. Anyway. So, we're going to stop here, I guess. Jeez. Anyway. I like how you can actually still obtain money even after the fact you don't even need it. Like when you're like maxed out and everything. So all I need is him to gain 2 more levels and he'll be there. So I think that's all the time we have. In fact, I know that's all the time that we have for this episode. I am actually going to let that kind of slow down a little bit. Replace the thing with I definitely know. Anyway, so that's about it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, later.